All right, let's talk about something we all know very well, that baffling, frustrating, and let's be honest, sometimes comical habit of putting things off. We have all been there. But what if I told you the real reason we do it and the way to actually stop is completely different from everything we've ever been taught? You know this exact scene, don't you? It's the perfect time to start. No more excuses. And yet, somehow, you find yourself alphabetizing your spice rack. Well, I have some good news for you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You're just stuck in a loop that has almost nothing to do with managing your time.
So, if our calendars are innocent, what's the real culprit here? We've all tried the usual tools, the timers, the to-do lists, the whole time-blocking thing. And for a lot of us, it feels like trying to fix a delicate watch with a hammer. You know why those tools keep failing? Because they're designed to solve the wrong problem.
And there it is. That's the entire game, right there. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's not about time management. It is an emotion management issue. Your brain, in its own kind of weird protective way, is just trying to shield you from a negative feeling, maybe boredom, anxiety, self-doubt, and its quickest escape route is to do something else, literally anything else.
This is where so much of the common advice just gets it profoundly wrong. We're told to feel guilty to motivate ourselves, but what does the evidence actually show? Guilt just adds another layer of negative feeling to the task, which makes us more likely to avoid it next time. The problem isn't the clock on the wall, it's what's going on inside our heads.
Okay, so how do we start solving the right problem? We start with a first step that is almost disarmingly simple. We're not going to charge at the task head-on, not yet. First, we're just going to gently acknowledge the feeling that's standing in our way. And I really mean the actual feeling. You know, stressed is kind of a suitcase word. It's just too big, it carries too much stuff. So let's open it up. Is it boredom? Is it that quiet, simmering resentment that you even have to do this thing? Or maybe it's that deep-seated fear that you're just not good enough to do it well. Getting specific is where the magic really starts. This is your first tool. It's a micro-action that takes less than 2 minutes. Now, the point here isn't to solve the feeling or to magically make you want to do the task. The only goal is to label the emotion. By just giving it a name, you take away its invisible power. You shift from being controlled by the feeling to simply observing it. And this is a crucial point. This technique is a scalpel, not a shovel. It's for a quick, precise cut. If you find yourself writing a 3-page emotional manifesto about your feelings, well, you've just invented a very sophisticated new way to procrastinate. 2 minutes. That's the rule. Okay, so once you've looked that feeling in the eye, the next step is to take willpower completely out of the equation. Look, willpower is a fickle friend, especially when you're facing down a feeling you'd really rather avoid. So instead, we're going to automate the very first tiny step. And right here, this is the difference between a wish and a plan. When I feel ready, that's a moment that might never arrive. In fact, your brain is actively working to make sure it doesn't. But if my coffee is ready, now that's a concrete, external event. It happens whether you feel like it or not, and you can hitch your first tiny action directly to it. This is what's called an if-then plan, and it works by basically outsourcing the decision to your environment. The research on this is really clear. It has a huge effect on actually getting things done. If the cue happens, then you do the tiny action. No internal debate, no emotional negotiation. You just follow the simple script you already wrote for yourself. Okay, so you've named the feeling, you've set your trigger, and you still put it off. Let's be real, it happens. But this moment, right here, is maybe the most important one. The jolt starts creeping in, and what you do next is what decides whether you stay trapped in that procrastination loop or if you finally break free. This is one of the most profound and radically counterintuitive truths in this whole thing. We think that being hard on ourselves, the shame, the guilt, is the punishment that will finally whip us into shape. But the science is crystal clear that self-blame is actually the fuel for the next round of procrastination. It just makes the task feel even heavier, even more dreaded. So what's the alternative? This, a simple, direct act of self-forgiveness. Now, this is not an excuse. It's a pragmatic emotional reset. You acknowledge what happened as a fact, without all the drama, and then you consciously decide not to carry the emotional baggage of that delay into your next attempt. And this isn't just some feel-good platitude. It is a proven strategy. There was a study that found students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on a first exam actually procrastinated less on the second one. By letting go of the shame, you lower the emotional barrier to entry, which makes it just that much easier to begin again. So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see a completely new picture. The goal isn't to become some kind of productivity robot who never feels resistance. The real goal is to change your relationship with that resistance, to see it not as some kind of moral failing, but simply as a signal. This says it all, doesn't it? The planner on your desk has never once felt a flicker of dread. Only you have. And that disconnect is precisely where all the traditional advice just falls apart. We've been using the wrong tool for the job this whole time. And this really is the most hopeful and important part of all. Your tendency to procrastinate isn't some fixed, unchangeable part of your personality. It's a behavioral pattern your brain learned because, hey, in the short term, it works. It reduces discomfort. And anything that can be learned can be unlearned, or it can be replaced with something better. So the next time you feel that familiar pull to turn away from something, just for a moment, don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just get curious. That feeling of avoidance, it's a message. The task itself is neutral, but it has stirred something up in you. What is it trying to say? Answering that, quietly and with a little kindness, is the first real step forward.